Hello everybody, I'm Fatima. Today we're going to read the storybook Heidi. So let's begin. This is Heidi and this is illustrated by Tamsin Henrichsen, okay? Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Heidi. This is Heidi. Heidi lived in Switzerland with Aunt Betty. The town was near some mountains. One day Aunt Betty said, "Today we will see your grandfather. He lives in the mountains." Look, she is explaining that today we will go to the mountains, okay? As they walked up into the mountain, they saw a boy called Peter. Peter looked after some mountain goats. Heidi and Aunt Betty walked up to the house where the grandfather lived. Grandfather came out to meet them. Grandfather meeting Heidi and Peter. Aunt Betty said, "Heidi, I have to go to Frankfurt. You must stay here with your grandfather." Heidi was worried. So was her grandfather. "I'm much too old to look after a little girl," he said. But Aunt Betty went back down to the mountains, and Heidi stayed with her grandfather. "Where will I sleep?" he asked. Grandfather made her a little bed of hayloft. Then Peter took Heidi some goat's milk to drink. You can see the goat's milk. Heidi was happy in the mountains with her grandfather. She liked the trees, the flowers, and she loved looking after the goats with Peter. Heidi liked the little white goat best of all. Her name was Snowflake. You see, she is enjoying playing with Snowflake. Sometimes Heidi went to see Peter's grandmother, who was blind. Heidi told Peter's grandmother about all the beautiful flowers in the mountain. But one day, Aunt Betty came back from Frankfurt. "Heidi," she said, "it's time you went to school." "Where must I go?" said Aunt Betty. "To Frankfurt." She said, "Aunt Betty, I will take you to Frankfurt to stay with my friends who live there." Look, it is a sad moment. Look, Heidi is also sad because she does not want to go. See? Grandfather was sad too. "Does Heidi have to go?" he said. Heidi was sad too. "I want to stay here with grandfather and Peter," she said. But Aunt Betty said, "No, you must go to school." Aunt Betty took Heidi to live with some of her friends in the big house in Frankfurt. A little girl called Clara lived there. Clara could not walk. She said she had to stay on a wheelchair all of the time. You see, the wheelchair. She had to stay on a wheelchair. Heidi liked Clara, but it wasn't happy living in Frankfurt. She wanted to go back to grandfather and Peter in the mountains. At night, Heidi dreamed that she was in the mountains with Snowflake and the white little goat. One day, when Heidi came home from school, Clara said, "Last night, the maid saw a ghost on the stairs. Tonight, Daddy will stay up late so he can see the ghost too." Look. She is also very surprised. Heidi surprised her well, and look at the maid so afraid. So that night, Clara's father went to look for the ghost. His friend, the doctor, went with him. As they were looking, there was a noise on the stairs. It was Heidi. Oh, walking in her sleep. "So that's the ghost after all," said Clara's father. Clara's father was worried about Heidi. "I'll help you to go home," he said. Heidi went to see Clara. "I will miss you when I'm back in the mountains," she said. "I will miss you too," said Clara. but I will come and see you one day soon. So Heidi went back to the mountains with her grandfather. Grandfather and Peter were very happy to see her. Peter gave her some goat's milk, as you can see. Then Heidi went to sleep in the hayloft. Heidi didn't walk in her sleep that night. She was so happy to be home. Okay, the next day, Heidi went to look after the goats with Peter. It was wonderful to have you back, said Peter. I missed you very much, he said. I missed you too, said Heidi. I want to stay in the mountains forever. One morning when Heidi had just gotten up, there was a knock at the door. It was Clara and her father. I have to go to town, said Clara's father. Clara can stay here for a week with you. Look, Clara's waving. Heidi's so surprised. Grandfather also happy. And look, his father is telling him. Heidi was pleased to see Clara and took her to see all the beautiful things in the mountain. But Peter was jealous of Heidi's new friend. When no one was looking, he pushed Clara's wheelchair down the mountain. You see? He's pushing the wheelchair down the mountain. The next day, Clara could not find a wheelchair. I must try to walk, said Clara. So Heidi and her grandfather helped her to walk. Suddenly, Clara started to walk all by herself. Wow, this is wonderful, said Heidi. Look, she's jumping in the air. She's so happy. So is his grandfather happy. And look, she's walking all by herself. Peter was pleased too. Look, he's also smiling. I'm so sorry I was jealous of you, said Peter. Will you be my friend again, Clara? He said. The next day, Clara's father came to take her back home. Clara walked out of the house to meet him. You can walk, said Clara's father. This is the happiest day of my life. And Heidi, Clara and Peter were friends forever. The end. How much do you remember about the story of Heidi? Answer these questions and you will find out. Who does Heidi live in Switzerland with? Can you tell? Maybe she lived with her grandfather? No. Maybe she lived with her grandmother? No. She lived with Aunt Detty. Yes. Exactly. Correct. Okay, who looks after the goats in the mountain? Can you tell? Exactly, you're right. It's Peter. Look, as you can see in the picture. Okay, what is Heidi's favorite little goat? What's the name of his favorite little goat? Can anyone tell? Exactly, look. It's Snowflake, the white little goat, remember? And next question. Why does Heidi have to go to Frankfurt? Can anybody tell? Because she had to go to school. Okay. What does Peter do to Clara's wheelchair? Can you guess? Yes. He pushed it down the mountain. And can you tell why did he push it? Because he was jealous of Heidi's new friend. Okay, the last question. Why is Clara's father surprised at the end? Can anybody tell? Because he's so surprised to see his daughter Clara walk. Look, you can see him so happy. Okay friends, now I hope you like the story, Heidi. I will see you next time with another story. So goodbye.